The badger is one of those animals that people rarely see, even though it is widespread in many regions. Its habitat includes forests, fields, meadows, and even areas close to human settlements. But the badger remains invisible because it is a master of hiding and using its surroundings in a way that makes it almost impossible to spot. When you walk through a forest, a badger might be lying in its set just a few meters away, and you would never know. Its habitat is full of small signs that only someone who looks very closely can recognize. The badger prefers soil that is soft enough to dig tunnels but stable enough to prevent collapses. Slopes and small hills are ideal because the ground stays dry even during heavy rain. Moisture is a problem for the badger because its underground chambers must remain dry. For this reason, it chooses places that offer natural protection from water. Sometimes you find badger sets at the edge of a forest, sometimes deep inside, and sometimes near fields where the soil is loose and easy to work with. A badger's territory is larger than most people imagine. A single badger can roam several square kilometers, always searching for food, new paths, and safe resting places. It follows fixed trails that it uses for years. These paths are often so narrow and subtle that humans overlook them easily. But for the badger, they are like roads that guide it safely through its world. It knows every curve, every scent, and every spot where it needs to be cautious. During the day, the badger almost always stays inside its set. It rests, sleeps, or grooms its fur. Darkness is its ally. Only when the sun sets does its life begin. Then it carefully leaves the set, sniffs the air, and checks whether the surroundings are safe. The badger's habitat changes with the seasons. In spring, it finds fresh plants and many insects. In summer, food is abundant, and it travels long distances. In autumn, it searches for high-energy food to build fat reserves for winter. And in winter, it often stays inside the set for longer periods because food is scarce and cold weather consumes energy. The badger lives in a world that remains hidden from us. But once you understand how it uses its habitat, you begin to see how skilled and adaptable this animal truly is. Its territory is not just a place to live, it is a complex network of paths, scents, hiding spots, and safe areas. A habitat the badger chooses with great care and uses for many years. The badger's set is one of the most impressive structures any animal can create. When you look at a small mound of earth from the outside, you would never guess what lies beneath. But underground stretches a complex system of tunnels, chambers, and connections that has grown over many years, sometimes even over generations. The badger is a true architect, and its set is the center of its life. A badger set often begins with a single entrance dug at a suitable location. Most of the time, the badger chooses a slope or a small hill because the soil there stays dry and stable. From this entrance, it digs a main tunnel that leads deep into the ground. This tunnel is wide enough for the badger to move comfortably but narrow enough to discourage predators. The badger knows exactly how to dig so that the walls remain stable. It uses its strong front paws like shovels and pushes the soil backward with its body. Inside the set, several chambers are created. Each chamber has a specific purpose. There are sleeping chambers where the badger rests. There are nursery chambers where the young are born and spend their first weeks. And there are storage chambers where the badger keeps dry grass or moss to line its nest. Some chambers are connected, while others lie deeper underground for extra protection. A badger set is never finished. The badger constantly expands it. It digs new tunnels, creates additional exits, and remodels old areas. If a tunnel becomes too damp, it digs a new one. If a chamber becomes too small, it enlarges it. Some sets are so large that they have multiple entrances spread across an entire forest area. These entrances serve as escape routes if a predator discovers the set. The badger knows every one of these paths and knows exactly which one to use in an emergency. What is especially remarkable is that badger sets are often used for many generations. A set can be decades old, sometimes even over 100 years. Each generation expands it a little further. This creates enormous underground systems that are almost invisible from the outside. Sometimes badgers even share parts of their set with other animals. Foxes, rabbits, or martens may use abandoned chambers or dig nearby. But the badger remains the master of the house and tolerates others only if they do not interfere. The badger keeps its set clean. It removes old bedding, brings in fresh grass, and ensures good ventilation. A badger set has almost no smell because the badger uses latrines outside the set. It digs small holes where it deposits its droppings. This keeps the set hygienic and free of scents that could attract predators. When you imagine how much work goes into such a structure, you gain real respect for this animal. The badger spends countless hours digging, expanding, and maintaining its home. Its set is not just a place to live, it is a shelter, a family center, and a place where generations of badgers are born. A masterpiece hidden deep beneath our feet. When the sun slowly sinks behind the trees and the forest turns into a soft, dark blue, the most important part of the badger's day begins. While many animals settle down to rest, the badger truly comes to life. The night is its world, its shield, and its hunting ground. Everything it does is adapted to these dark hours. And here, more than anywhere else, you can see how perfectly this animal is built for a life in secrecy. Before the badger leaves its set, it carefully checks the surroundings. It sticks its nose out of the entrance, sniffs the air, and listens for any sound. Badgers have excellent hearing and can detect even the faintest rustle of leaves or soft footsteps. Only when it is sure that no danger is near does it step fully outside. Its movements are calm and controlled, almost as if it blends into the forest itself. The night offers many advantages. The darkness protects the badger from predators such as foxes or large birds of prey. It is also cooler at night, making long walks easier. A badger can travel several kilometers in a single night. It follows fixed paths that it has used for years. These trails are often so narrow and subtle that humans barely notice them. But for the badger, they are familiar roads that guide it safely through its territory. During its nightly wanderings, the badger searches for food. It moves slowly but with purpose. It frequently stops, lowers its nose to the ground, and sniffs. Its sense of smell is so strong that it can detect worms underground, even when they are deeply buried. When it finds something interesting, it begins to dig immediately. Its powerful front paws work quickly and precisely. Within seconds, it can dig a hole deep enough to reach its prey. But foraging is only part of its nightly routine. The badger also patrols its territory. It leaves scent markings to signal to other badgers that this area belongs to it. These markings are invisible to us but unmistakable to other badgers. They help prevent conflicts. When a stranger smells them, it knows to stay away. The night is also the time when the badger explores new paths. It is curious and investigates anything that has changed. A fallen tree, a new scent, or a fresh track, everything is examined closely. The badger knows its territory so well that it notices even the smallest changes. This awareness helps it avoid danger and find safe routes. Sometimes the badger encounters other animals during the night. A deer moving quietly through the forest, a hedgehog searching for food, or a mouse rustling through the leaves. The badger ignores most animals unless they come too close. It is not aggressive, but it knows how to defend itself if necessary. Usually, it avoids conflict and retreats when it feels threatened. As the night progresses and the moon rises high, the badger becomes even more active. It continues to wander, search for food, patrol its territory, and enjoy the calm of the forest. The sounds of the night are familiar to it: the rustling of leaves, the cracking of branches, the distant call of an owl. All of this is part of its world. Only when the sky begins to brighten and the first birds start to sing does the badger return to its set. It disappears into the entrance, shakes the dirt from its fur, and settles into its sleeping chamber. There it rests until the sun sets again and a new nightly journey begins. The night is not just a time for the badger, it is its home. A world hidden from us, but full of life, sense, and paths for the badger. A realm where it is safe, strong, and truly itself. When the badger wanders through its territory at night, it follows a clear purpose: finding food. It is an omnivore, and this is one of the main reasons for its success. While other animals depend on specific prey, the badger can eat almost anything it finds. This flexibility allows it to thrive in many different habitats. But its search for food is not random. It follows a pattern that has proven effective over countless generations. The badger's most important tool during foraging is its sense of smell. It is so powerful that it can detect earthworms underground, even when they are deeply buried. For humans, this is almost unimaginable. But for the badger, it is a natural ability. It lowers its nose to the ground, sniffs slowly and carefully, and follows a scent trail invisible to us. When it finds something promising, it pauses, lifts its head slightly, and checks the air. Only when it is certain does it begin to dig. Digging is one of its greatest strengths. With its powerful front paws, it can dig a deep hole within seconds. Soil flies backward as the badger digs deeper and deeper. When it reaches a worm or another small animal, it pulls it out quickly. Badgers do not only eat worms. They also consume insects, larvae, snails, fruits, berries, roots, and even small mammals. This variety makes the badger a true survival expert. In spring and summer, food is abundant. The soil is soft, insects are active, and many plants bear fruit. During this time, the badger often travels long distances to find the best feeding spots. It knows areas where worms are especially plentiful and visits them regularly. Some of these spots are used for years. If you look closely, you might see small holes in the ground, traces of its nightly work. In autumn, the badger's diet changes. Now it searches for high-energy food to build fat reserves for winter. It eats more fruits, nuts, and anything that provides extra energy. Its body prepares for the cold season, when food becomes scarce. Badgers do not hibernate, but they rest much more during winter. This means they must store enough fat in autumn to survive the long, cold nights. Badgers also eat carrion. If they find a dead animal, they feed on it as long as it is fresh. This may sound unpleasant to us, but in nature, it is an important ecological service. The badger helps clean the environment and prevents the spread of disease. It plays a vital role in the natural cycle. Throughout its search for food, the badger remains alert. It listens to every sound and constantly checks the air. Although it is a strong animal, it avoids unnecessary conflicts. If it senses a fox or another predator, it quietly moves away and chooses a different path. Safety always comes first. Sometimes the badger finds food in unexpected places. Near fields, it may eat corn or other crops. In gardens, it may look for snails or fallen fruit. But it is not a pest. It takes only what it needs and then moves on. Its goal is not to cause damage but simply to survive. The badger's foraging behavior shows how skilled and adaptable it is. It uses its senses, its strength, and its experience to find enough food every night. Much of this remains hidden from us because it happens in the dark. But once you understand how the badger searches, you begin to see how impressive this animal truly is. A calm, patient hunter who moves through the forest in its own quiet way. The badger may look modest at first glance, but its body is a true powerhouse. Everything about it is designed for life underground, for digging, for defending itself, and for traveling long distances at night. When you take a closer look at the badger, you can see how perfectly nature has equipped it for its lifestyle. Its body is compact, strong, and surprisingly resilient. It is not a fast hunter like a fox or a graceful runner like a deer, but it is a specialist, a survivor who knows exactly how to use its strengths. The badger's body is short and solid. Its back is slightly arched, giving it stability when digging or defending itself. The muscles in its shoulders and front legs are especially well developed. This strength is essential for digging tunnels, breaking through roots, and moving heavy soil. When a badger digs, it looks almost effortless, but in reality, it requires tremendous muscle power. Its front paws are like tools, broad, powerful, and equipped with long, curved claws. These claws are one of its most important tools. They are hard, sharp, and perfectly shaped to loosen soil and push stones aside. A badger can dig a deep hole in just a few seconds, something that would take other animals much longer. But the claws are not only for digging. When threatened, the badger can use them for defense. It swipes at attackers or braces itself against them. Although the badger is usually peaceful, its strength should not be underestimated. Its head is also specially shaped. It is elongated and tapers to a point, helping the badger squeeze into narrow tunnels and push under roots. The distinctive black stripes on its face are not just a visual feature, they also serve as camouflage. In the darkness, they break up the outline of its head, making it harder to spot. Its eyes are small but adapted to low light. The badger does not see sharply, but it detects movement and contrast very well. Its hearing is sensitive and precise. The badger can detect quiet sounds that humans would miss, a rustle in the leaves, a step in the grass, or the scratching of a small animal. But its strongest sense remains its sense of smell. Its nose is constantly moving, always searching for scents that reveal food, danger, or other badgers. The sense of smell is so strong that it can detect scents even underground. The badger's fur is dense and durable. It protects the animal from cold, rain, and dirt. When it crawls through narrow tunnels or thick vegetation, its body remains well protected. The fur is so tough that it can even absorb minor bites or scratches. In winter, it becomes even thicker to help the badger survive cold nights. The colors of its fur, gray, black, and white, help it remain unnoticed in the darkness. Its body weight also plays an important role. An adult badger can weigh between 10 and 15 kilograms, sometimes more. This weight gives it stability and power. When it needs to defend itself, it stands wide, lowers its head, and shows its teeth. In this posture, it appears larger and more threatening than it actually is. Many predators back off when they see this, realizing that the badger is not an easy target. Its teeth are equally impressive. They are strong, sharp, and perfectly suited for crushing tough food like roots or insect shells. At the same time, the badger can deliver a powerful bite when defending itself. A badger bite can be very painful and is often enough to drive attackers away. When you consider all these features together, you can see how perfectly the badger is adapted to its life. Its body is a toolbox full of abilities: strength for digging, claws for working and defending, thick fur for protection, a keen sense of smell for finding food, and a sturdy build that carries it through every season. The badger does not impress with speed or elegance. It impresses with strength, endurance, and adaptability. A quiet but powerful resident of our natural world. The badger may seem like a solitary animal to many people. It is rarely seen, it lives hidden, and it avoids daylight. But anyone who believes the badger is a loner is mistaken. In reality, it is a remarkably social creature that lives in small family groups and shows strong cooperative behavior. Its set is not just a home, it is the center of family life, a place of safety, closeness, and teamwork. A badger family usually consists of an adult pair and the young of the current year. Sometimes older juveniles or additional adults live in the set as well, especially when food is plentiful. These groups are called clans. They are stable, peaceful, and well organized. Every badger knows its place, and every member understands how to behave so that the group functions smoothly. The day inside the set begins quietly. While the sun rises outside, the badgers sleep closely together in their chambers. They often lie so tightly packed that it is hard to see where one animal ends and the next begins. This closeness provides warmth and security. The sleeping chambers are lined with dry grass, which is regularly replaced. The badgers keep their home clean. Old bedding is carried outside, and fresh material is brought in. Communication plays a major role in the set. Badgers communicate through sounds, scents, and body language. They grunt, hiss, growl, or make soft whistling noises depending on what they want to express. Many of these sounds are so quiet that humans barely notice them. But for badgers, they are clear signals. Their sense of smell is equally important. Each badger has a unique scent that identifies it to the others. This scent is released through glands on the body and acts like a family ID. One of the most important social behaviors is mutual grooming. Badgers do not only clean themselves, they clean each other. They remove dirt, parasites, and loose fur. This strengthens the bond within the group. It shows trust and helps keep the animals healthy. When you observe badgers grooming each other, you can see how gentle and careful they are. Raising the young is another central part of their social life. The mother gives birth in a protected chamber. For the first weeks, the cubs are blind and completely dependent. But they are not alone. Other clan members help care for them. They keep them warm, guard the set, and bring fresh bedding. As the cubs grow older, they accompany the adults on short trips outside. They learn how to search for food, how to detect danger, and how to move through the territory. Play is also essential for young badgers. They wrestle, chase each other, and practice movements they will need later. This strengthens their muscles, improves coordination, and teaches them social rules. A cub that plays too roughly receives a clear but harmless correction from an adult. This is how they learn proper behavior within the group. When the set is threatened, the badgers work together. Although they are usually peaceful, they become determined when defending their home. They stand wide, growl, and show their teeth. A single badger can defend itself well, but a group is even more impressive. Predators like foxes or martens usually retreat when they realize they are facing multiple badgers. Even foraging can be a shared experience. Each badger searches for food individually, but they often leave the set at the same time and return together. Sometimes they follow the same paths or visit the same feeding spots. These shared routines strengthen the group bond and allow members to learn from one another. When you look at all these behaviors, you realize that the badger is far more than a quiet loner. It is a family-oriented animal that shows closeness, cooperation, and care. Its set is a place full of life, quiet communication, and mutual support. A badger set is not just an underground maze, it is a home where every member has a place and where social life plays a central role. The badger is an animal that knows its territory well and protects it carefully. Although it is not an aggressive fighter, it has a strong sense of territoriality. Its territory is not just a piece of forest or meadow, it is its world, its living space, its network of paths, feeding spots, and safe retreats. Every tree, every scent, every track tells it something. And the badger knows exactly where its boundaries are and how to defend them. A territory can cover several square kilometers. The size depends on how much food is available and how many badgers live nearby. In areas with plenty of food, the territory is smaller. In poorer regions, it is larger. The badger patrols its territory every night, following fixed paths it has used for years. These trails are often so narrow and subtle that humans barely notice them. But for the badger, they are familiar roads that guide it safely through its domain. To mark its territory, the badger uses its sense of smell and its scent glands. It has special glands on its body that produce scent markings. These markings are invisible to us but unmistakable to other badgers. They say, "I live here. This is my territory." The badger places these markings on tree trunks, along paths, on small mounds, or near the entrances of its set. Each marking is like a message that lasts for a long time. One of the most important elements of its territorial behavior is the use of latrines. These are small pits the badger digs to deposit its droppings. Latrines are often located at the edges of its territory. They serve not only for hygiene but also for communication. Other badgers recognize that the area is already occupied. The latrines act like boundary signs that clearly indicate where the territory begins and ends. If a stranger enters the territory, encounters may occur. But these encounters rarely turn violent. Most of the time, the scent markings are enough to prevent conflict. When two badgers meet, they first display warning signals, standing wide, lifting the head, growling, or hissing. These gestures are meant to intimidate the opponent. Only if neither animal backs down can a short fight occur. But such fights are rare and usually last only a few seconds. The badger is not an animal that takes unnecessary risks. Within its territory, the badger knows every corner. It knows where food can be found, where dangers lurk, and where it can hide. It notices changes immediately. A new scent, a fallen tree, or a fresh track, all of this stands out to the badger. This awareness is essential for protecting its territory and moving safely through the night. The badger is an animal that perceives its surroundings intensely and constantly evaluates them. Family also plays a role in territorial behavior. A badger set is often used for many generations. Members of a clan share the territory and defend it together. They know the paths, the boundaries, and the best feeding spots. If a stranger comes too close, they react as a group. This makes them stronger and safer. A single badger can defend itself well, but a family is even more impressive. The badger's territorial behavior shows how important structure and order are in its life. It is not an animal that wanders aimlessly. Every movement, every path, every marking has meaning. Its territory is a carefully maintained system that provides protection, food, and orientation. It is its world, and the badger ensures it remains the way it needs it to be. When you understand how the badger uses its territory, you see how intelligent and organized this animal truly is. It does not simply live in the forest, it lives in a space it knows, protects, and manages with great care. A quiet guardian of its own small kingdom. Thank you for watching until the end. If you enjoyed this film, we appreciate a like and a subscription. By subscribing, you won't miss any future films and you help support our channel in creating new documentaries for you. See you in the next film.